Yay. Hello, hello. It's Friday. It is Fierce Female Friday. It's Moxie Chat Friday. These are my favorite Fridays. I mean, the days of the week really don't mean the same thing like they used to when I worked in corporate America. I love Fridays and I love Moxie Chats. And I'm so excited for all of you to meet this amazing, powerful human being with me today. As you join us, of course, let us know where you're watching from. We love to look at that. See where are you at the beach? Are you in the mountains? Are you by a lake? Are you still snuggled under the covers with a cup of hot tea in Hawaii? Where are you? So Jessika Phillips is joining me today. Let me share with you the 140 that she shares on Instagram and Twitter. International speaker, good vibes spreader, passionate founder of Now Marketing Group, and hashtag SMWL. We'll find out what do those 4 letters mean. And then she has this quote that she uses in a couple of different places, and I'll refer back to it a couple of times, but it's, I help brands master relationship marketing to love more, give more, and be more. So for those of you who don't know Jessika, she is new to the Fire Up community. We actually connected earlier this year through my girlfriends, Rebecca Radice and Mia Voss. And actually the 3 of us, along with the Agora Pulse community, had an amazing conversation way back in March about really how to connect with your communities in the chaos that was 1 week in to the shelter in place. So Jessika's a social media strategist. She's known for, outspoken dedication. Come on, people. You know, we are going to love this woman. She's really passionate about relationship marketing. Her personal mission is to inspire people to love more, give more, and be more through using those authentic relationships every day. So already you see a red thread between her personal mission and her business mission. Whoop, whoop. So she founded Now Marketing Group in 2010 with only a laptop and a vision. God, I love that. The company is now, wait for it, a Forbes recognized agency partner. I feel like that needs an accent. I don't know why. Inbound partner with HubSpot. Come on now, lady leader. Now Marketing Group works with more than 100 clients across the United States and beyond, choosing to serve, not sell. Jessika also teaches comprehensive relationship marketing, presents a weekly video cast called Magnet Marketers, and hosts one of the largest social media Midwest conferences, Social Media Week Lima. And you have heard Mia and I talk about that a lot over the years, because of course, when I heard that she first was doing it, I was like, you're going to Peru? She's like, not Peru. So welcome, Jessika. We are so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. Yes, that is a common mistake with Lima. Many people do think it's Peru, and maybe that's why they decided to speak there. I don't know, but they do come back after they come the first time. So it's been good.
I think it's brilliant. I mean, every city has a sister or 2 across the globe. So why not use it?
Yeah, right. But Lima is a very small town in Ohio, population 30,000. We're like closest airport's like 2 hours away. So a little bit different than Peru, but still lots of heart there.
I love it. I see some amazing power ladies in the stream with us today. Hi, Karen. And Mia's here.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jessika, I love to start these conversations with finding out what's on your heart. You know, it's been a really wild roller coaster of a sack of months.
Yeah.
And so what are you thinking about these days? What's on your heart?
Oh, I think what's on my heart is going back to like the love more, be more, give more, and kind of what you and I were talking about even before we started recording this. And I think it's what a lot of people are maybe feeling and thinking right now as we wind down the end of the year. Usually we wind down the end of the year and we're thinking about what is our goals for next year? What does it look like, right? And I think what's really on my heart right now is all the good things that have come out of this year. You and I were talking about before we started recording about how it's taught us to love more of each other, right?
Mhm.
Because we're being
Yes.
more intentional with our relationships, whether that's with the family members and the people that we're being quarantined with, and really getting to know them and not feeling like this hustle bustle, but taking moments in the now to truly kind of connect, and also
Yeah.
being intentional about who we're trying to connect with outside of those four walls, right? I feel like 2020 is really shed light on the best parts of us and also the worst parts of people. So I'm really hoping, though, as we move into 2021, that of course COVID is, starting to not have such detrimental, let's try that word again, consequences on businesses and health and safety and all of those things. I do hope that that lifts up a bit. But I really do
Yes.
truly hope that people take what lessons we've learned about this year, what's made this year great, about realizing the things in life that matter and the things in life that don't. Like, we maybe don't need those big offices. We maybe don't need our team members to come physically there every single day. Maybe it's okay that they work from home, especially if their kids are sick or if they have a family member having something going on, that we could all be a little bit more human and flexible and give more, right? And at the end of the day, that helps us be more, that we can be really truly show up as our authentic self. And that's really truly what's going to matter. So as we go into this new normal, as some people like to call it, I really hope that we take the best things that we've learned from this year moving into next year, and truly hope that shapes both how we show up for our families, how we show up at work, and building our culture, and just how we treat each other. There's been so many other lessons this year, of course, with just how we treat each other. And I really hope that this has been a pivotal shift for all of us that way.
It's so true. I love how when I'm having conversations, in particular with my lionesses this week, and we're sharing the stories of what we did last week for the holiday, for Thanksgiving, how everyone is so much more relaxed
Yeah.
this year. You were sharing in the green room earlier that it was like, when the food's ready, we'll eat.
Mm-hmm.
The house is clean. We live here.
Yep.
So it's clean enough to have dinner in.
Yep.
And so I think a lot of the normal kind of anxiety creators that happened around normally happen around the holidays were released from our lives. However, we still had the traditions and the rituals, right? People still sat at their dining room table. They still, ate on grandma's china or on their favorite plates and shared what they're most thankful for. And so I do believe that not only because of the shelter in place, I've been feeling it for the last few years, especially
Amen.
with the women in my life
Mm-hmm.
who are like, screw this.
Enough's enough.
I don't,
Yeah.
enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Rebecca and I did this ridiculous challenge, which was really my fault. We did it. It's a couple of years ago now, but we're talking about how we wanted to do more video. Like, the two of us, we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do more video. So we thought, let's do a project. If we do a project, we'll do the video.
Mm-hmm.
It can't just be like, oh, let's meet once a week and do something, right?
Yeah.
And so we were talking about going live once a week, but actually doing other activities every day between those.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I opened my mouth during our conversation and I was like, we're going to go live every day. Oh my God, for 30 days. And
yeah. It's a lot.
During that time, we actually realized how productive we became when we went live every single day for 30 days. We also realized how much we knew that we weren't using, and because we were always trying to write something fresh and exciting. And so it really kicked into gear our desire to ditch the senseless hustle.
Yes.
Right? Like, really fire up our focus on, in those 30 days, the conversations we had, the conversations that really were touching so many of the people in both of our communities. We're like, why are we always doing this to ourselves?
Yeah.
Right. And so over the last couple of years, we've all tried to, I think, remind each other of this, right?
Yeah.
Slow down, take a deep breath. Is what you're worrying about really something that matters?
Oh my God. I just heard this quote too. It was like, always think about the thing you're stressing about. And if it won't matter in 5 years, don't spend 5 minutes dwelling on it. And I keep reminding myself of that. Like you were saying, we still have those moments, and it's the stuff that matters, right? Like, does things have to be perfect? And I think there's so much pressure on women. I mean, if you look at anything in the media or magazines and things like that, it's always like, here's how to get your hair perfect. How to get this look like so-and-so. And we're always constantly in the back of our mind saying, we're not there yet. We're not good enough yet. We can do this better because we need to be like so-and-so. And if anything, enough is enough kind of been that thing too. And we'll get into like, that was my word for the year, right? Like it was like stopping all that nonsense and to be okay when you're not okay and be okay with that, right?
Yes.
And still show up with clarity in what you do want and conviction of how you want things to be, and that's you. And it doesn't have to be anything else. And you don't have to prove anything else to anyone else. As long as you show up with those two things and can feel content with it, do you.
Amen.
Do you, boo. Like that's
do you, boo. I love that. Well, I'm a huge fan of Audible. I love listening to books. And I'm currently listening to one that I found through a Brene Brown podcast interview. Who
love her.
I love Brene. Of course you do. We're soul sisters. So the book is called Cassandra Speaks. It's by Elizabeth Lesser. I don't know if you've heard of this book yet. I will drop it in the comments in the show notes. But this woman digs into the power of women's stories and how women have been told, since the beginning of time, that like we're the reason sin exists. And we take men's virtue by using our feminine wiles. And women are always cast as either, the Madonna or the whore, and there is nothing in between. And how we actually, as women, claiming our power back and claiming the beauty of who we are in the story of humanity.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Yeah, it's so huge. And that no matter what gender you identify with, you are worthy of sharing your voice. You are worthy of a seat at the table. It's like, it's so amazing. I was watching Little Women last week because it's one of my favorite
movie
Christmas ones to watch, right? And there's this point where all these men are sitting around at the boarding house, and Jo is sitting there with, her German professor above her shoulder, and they're all talking about like why women shouldn't be voting. And they just passed the 16th Amendment. And well, of course that allowed Black men to vote, but still women couldn't vote, etc. And she's just like, I think this is the silliest conversation. Like anyone should be able to vote because we're all human. Like it doesn't matter the gender. And so we've been saying this, like Louise Alcott, like we read it when we were kids, but that's not the part of the story we remember, right?
Yeah.
Those aren't the words that we remember. We remember the stuff that comes at us constantly. So I love knowing that we are dotted across the country. We've got Rebecca down in SoCal. We've got Mia in Colorado. We've got you in Ohio. I'm up here in Washington. We've got women all over the world who are reminding women that the still small voice inside deserves to be let out.
Yes. And that we do not need to be saved by anyone but ourselves.
That's right. We have the power to save ourselves. That's correct. And enjoy the journey for sure. So I send a couple of questions ahead of time so that you can kind of marinate on them. And one of our community favorites is around success. And the reason this question was really involved or infused into the Moxie Chats, Jessika, is because as a coach, when I first started D11 back in 2012, I did a lot of conversations with people about how to use their personal social media, simply because of where my job in corporate America was before. And so I was really good at social. And so people were like, hey, can you teach me? And I would always get to this question and they would not have an answer. They would not have an answer. And before this, the question was like, who do you follow on social media that you want to emulate, right? Who does it well in your eyes? And then how do you define success? And they were lost. And so it's really been a mission of mine over the last 8+ years to get people to listen to how success means something different to everyone. So I'm really, really excited to hear how you define success.
And it's not surprising to me that people couldn't answer that, especially women,
Yeah.
because again, going back to what we've been told is that somebody else has to define us as successful. So it's like, what do you mean? How do I define it? I'm waiting for someone else to define me as successful. So that makes complete sense. But to me, I believe that success comes from feeling good about what you do and doing good, so you feel good about it. And it's also doing good, is actively doing something effective and productive for others. It's helping people love more, give more, and be more. And you feel it inside too. So you can definitely make lots of money, but if you don't feel good about it, that to me is not success. You can feel really good and be making less money, but helping nonprofits and doing good in that way. And to me, that's successful. So doing the best
Mm.
that you can and putting your whole heart, soul, and passion into what you do is how I define success. I loved it so much that because I broke free out of corporate America, and actually it wasn't by choice. I got fired when I was sick. And I thought I had my forever job. I thought I had reached success at that point in my career, was kind of the top of the chain, if you will. Got pregnant, got sick, was in the hospital for 8 out of the 9 months I was pregnant, and they let me go. And I was devastated, lost my breadwinning job, the car, the company cars, the whole thing. I was devastated. But it gave me that clarity that I knew inside me that I wasn't happy there anyway. I was just making money and I was being treated like crap. So I really got inspired. And that's where finding Now Marketing Group with a laptop and a vision, because that's all I had. And I was paid to work for a little bit. And I really got clear on what do I want to do and how do I want to do it and how can I put my whole heart, soul, and passion into it. And I came across this word, meraki, and it just said, just that, doing all that you do with your full soul and heart and passion. So I loved it so much. I got it tattooed on my wrist with the heart chakra as a reminder to never go back there and to make sure that I was always checking in with myself. Is this making me happy? Is this doing good for others at the same time? And to me, I feel like that's the ultimate definition of success that only you can define. Nobody else can define it for you.
Well, and what I love about meraki is, and I was sharing this with you earlier, that more than ever, this word has come up this year. And actually, I think Luisa Chavez was the first gal who talked about it. And that was December 2019, like on the show, like actually speaking this word. And I love to see words rise like that. I'm sure you do as much as you're marketing.
All of it. Yeah. It's like the time.
Words.
It's been coming for a minute, right? Like I feel like here, this is that shift.
Well, and I do a weekly show called Spill the Tea with one of my collaborators in all things, Molly McKinley, and she's a yoga master. And so we decided at the beginning of the pandemic to get together on Tuesdays, have a cup of tea, and talk about the Moxie affirmation that comes out the day before. And we put together this, we're like, how are we going to be different? And so we do this breathing technique at the beginning and we do a guided meditation at the end. And this year has awakened the desire, specifically for me. And I know in many of the women in our community, but for me, I actually started taking Reiki classes. I'm like,
I love it.
This is something I can feel this and the fire that is inside of me that wants to fire people up. That is that purpose. Yeah, I want to use her with a deeper purpose. And that's what I think is so beautiful about this word, meraki, is that it is truly about you putting a bit of yourself into everything you do. Every word, again, why the words I think they stir our soul. Oh, I like that word. I want to know more. I love delicious and luscious and scrumptious and vivacious. I tend to like the ush words because they kind of make me want to bite into it, right?
Meraki in that way for cooking. And because Greeks are so connected to their food, and they actually use that word to talk about putting it even in their food. So it's whatever you do, that you're constantly putting your own flavor on it. And you care about it so much that you constantly want to up level, like what you're saying. I want to learn Reiki now. I have this huge giant book beside me right now that I'm learning NLP and getting certified in it. But taking those steps, you want to keep constantly investing in, not because you're wanting someone else to give you approval, because you're doing that thing, but because you know yourself that you care about it so much that you want to keep feeding it so you can overflow to others and fill yourself up at the same time when you do it. So I
So
think
true.
it's powerful. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I feel like I need to be waving a flag. I'm certainly like waving my hand in the air. I think these conversations, Jessica, we need more of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? We need more of us to be talking about this more often, and filling the stream, filling our minds, filling our bookshelves or our audibles with words that are reminding us, that are singing our song to us, songs we didn't even know were ours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because
And I
garbage
think
in,
that's,
garbage out. If you keep feeding
yeah,
yourself all the stuff that's coming at you, that's garbage, most of it's hate and just some of it, media and all that. Don't just tune it out. Like feed the good in you, and that's what's gonna come out of you. You'll notice a
I
big
love it.
difference when I started turning off the news and just getting kind of highlights, quick little bits of it. It definitely helps your stress level and just helps your staying in your comfort of feeling good versus feeling this anxiousness and not enoughness.
Yeah, so true. I actually, during the election season, I didn't watch any news. I only went onto Twitter, and I had actually created myself a list of both sides, like
Mm-hmm.
the actual, like the people's voices, not the marketing, not the
Mm-hmm.
spinny stuff that they like slinging each other with whatever they're finding about each other, but the actual people involved, the politicians involved. It was so fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fascinating. And, of course, it's the tweet is the start of the conversation.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that falls underneath it is always where like the juice is, right? And so it really does help you. It helped me really, in particular, bring my visual time with the
Mm-hmm.
news, right? That time where I'm actually consuming it way down, like
Absolutely.
instead of having it around and listening to it, and again like listening to the highlights, I was like, okay, well, what is this person actually saying? What are they saying? What is like the unfiltered words? And I think that it's important to find that for every aspect of our lives, not simply with politics,
Absolutely.
but with everything, right?
Yeah, both sides of things because it puts things in context. The social dilemma, kind of that movie, just talking about social, even put that in perspective for me too, of making sure that I wasn't just only connecting with my tribe of people because they feel good and all that. Definitely, that's my core tribe. But also, if there's an opinion about something, go look at the other view because you don't want to be so biased because you're in your own bubble that you're not hearing for the intention of understanding, right,
Yes.
other people's point of view. So I definitely think that's very smart of you to follow both sides, but also do it with the mindset of stepping back. I'm here to objectively observe and listen versus, already have an opinion coming in to see if people agree, kind of thing. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. We can always find things that support our thought process.
Absolutely. Thankfully.
Like
Thankfully.
cognitive dissonance is an
Yeah,
easy
you have to
place
be
to
intentional
stay.
about it.
Like it takes work to actually step outside of your own
Uh-huh.
opinion. That is a faux show.
So true.
so, so let's move into one of the other questions, which is really when I ask you to kind of close your eyes and say, what are the 3 words that you use to describe yourself? Like, what are those 3 words?
Yeah.
And you've used some really beautiful words. So I'm going to share the words and then have you share why. So the first word was heart-centered or kind. You could put kind next to it. Generous and leader. So let's start with the heart-centered. What about that word? Why?
Yeah, so I used to always like it, and I should say always, but before I would take it as, the people are like, oh, it's just business. You can't get your emotions and stuff involved in it. But now I look at it as my superpower because I do make a lot of decisions based on my heart and my gut, if you will. And I think honestly that that's just me and I'll accept it. And that's who I am, and
Yes.
I think that does very much define me on just how I've decided to run the business, how I decide to raise my children, how I make decisions, and how I make connections, very much heart-centered. And that's okay.
Amen. Have you ever read the Throwing Rocks at the Google Bus?
No, but I need
That
to write
book?
that one down too.
Okay, I really think that you would absolutely enjoy this book. It encapsulates so much of what we've talked about already in
Mhm,
these first 20 minutes. But it really is about how the way things flow, and
mhm,
all of the business books and all of the teachings around leadership have been about leaving your feminine energy at the door.
mhm. Yeah.
Like, darest thou show thy emotion?
Yes.
Oh,
Even like
you
when
know,
you're younger, like, don't be so sensitive. Well, no, I do connect with people. I'm not a, I can still be a leader, and that's why I put that as even my last word. I remember that because just because you show up and you care doesn't mean you still can't lead. I think there's a common misconception of that you have to be cold and calculated in order to be successful and be a leader, and that's not the case. And I
right.
think 2020 is going to and even 2021 is going to show that. Like 2020 has definitely showed the brands that care and the brands that do lead with their heart and coming out, and in the individuals, those are the ones that are shining right now, and I think are going to continue moving forward because we can see it. We can see true character of people, and it's okay to show your emotion.
Absolutely. I think it's uh, taking the word just out of that sentence that you started with, like,
Mhm.
just because you show up and care, it's
Yeah.
because you show up and care, you are a
Yes.
leader.
Yes.
And that's taking that four-letter word out of a lot of things
Yeah.
has been really helpful in a lot of my conversations with girlfriends as well, right? Taking
I
it
love that.
does just stand for an amount of time, like I just did something, or is it I'm just a woman, I'm just a girl, I'm just a this or a that, and helping us again remember the power of the words we're speaking into ourselves. And I link
So true.
right back to that book, Cassandra Speaks. It really, really talks about that, and the character of Cassandra, which it is so fascinating. So she was the daughter of a king, like just this
Mhm.
beautiful princess, and everyone wanted to marry her. Everyone. Zeus wanted to marry her, and Apollo, his son, wanted to marry her, right? And so this woman, Cassandra, has all these suitors, and Apollo finally wins her hand and gives her big by giving her this gift.
Mhm.
And so he gifts her the gift of clairvoyance so she can see the future.
Mhm.
And what he didn't say is, after I give you this gift, you're going to go to bed with me. Because, of course, everyone wanted to bed her because
Oh my
that's like,
gosh.
right.
That's
And
perfect.
so he comes towards her. She says, no. He spits a curse in her mouth and says, you will forever stay clairvoyant, but no one will ever believe you.
Oh my God. You are so like in line. Okay, so I never talk about this, but this is another tattoo on my ring finger. And I got it here, and it's a triangle that it broke open, and it's up leveling. Okay, so and the reason for that was not settling in choosing your worth and what somebody's saying that I'm choosing you because you can be this way, and then getting your worth from that, but knowing you are so much more, and just because another opposite sex or whatever, or how you choose if somebody accepts you for marriage or whatever, that's your worth because you
Yeah.
are so much more than
Yes.
that, whether that's who's choosing you to hire you, who's choosing to marry you, who's choosing whatever,
So true.
that you decide that, and you don't have to get that from someone else. And yeah, so many lessons that I've broke free of those scripts, and I feel like that's been the key to loving yourself, and that is the key to being successful too. Again,
Yeah.
choosing what feels good to you in all areas of your life, business, self, parenting, all areas. That's the key to break away from having those words define you and be your script that you're telling yourself.
Right. Right. Let the words that define you be the words you choose, not what the
Absolutely.
world tells you, which is why going through the exercises of defining your own success, where are you successful now? Where do you have a desire to be successful? What words describe you now? What words would you love to be confidently saying about yourself?
Exactly.
And is it self-limiting that's holding those, or is it really like you've got some work to do? You got some work to do on that thing.
Absolutely.
But I think that that's something else that this year has allowed us to do is it's allowed us to, for those who are blessed enough to have the time and the mind space, right, to do the work on themselves. uh, a lot of self-discovery has happened this year, right? A lot of, people going through it and redefining success, redefining what they want their life to look like, whether it's, they want to move to a smaller home or a larger home and bring everything under the same roof and do it well, as opposed to, mom's working from the kitchen counter, dad's working from the dining room table, like that kind of crazy stuff. Anyways, I digress. But this concept of knowing who you are, right?
Mhm.
So heart-centered, beautiful. I love how you explain leader, and that it's that kind of brings all of the words together. But let's talk about generous. I love that word.
Yeah, I think generous for me, it's always the joy of just giving to others and watching others kind of be surprised and seen, if you will. So whether it's generous with our words, or generous with gifting, or just generous and offering, an extension of I see you and it's okay kind of thing. But I've heard that word and I accepted that word a few years ago of saying, yeah, I am that way. And thank you. Now I see my value, and that's one of the words that define me.
I love that. Have you met Heather Fink yet? She's in Mia's streams a lot too. She's the gal that does the Sexiest Beauty lipsticks
No, but I
and other things.
her.
Okay, you have to meet Heather. You two will love each other. So I love talking about her stuff because she is all about generosity.
Yes.
Like
Any of me
she's
as people is my people. Like, you know how
yes,
yeah, people
right.
gravitate
So
together.
like right now I have Warrior Red on with a tinge of Cha-Cha, which used to be
Ooh,
called Nice Melons.
I
She's
love
really
it.
got some campy names.
And you
But
always have
every
great
tube,
music.
no matter what, every tube, a portion of this goes to help find a cure or fund awareness of breast cancer,
Oh, I
right?
may have had a conversation with Heather. Does she do Fight for the Girls, or is she aligned with
Uh, I'm not
and
sure
I
about
don't
that, but
think it
I
is?
know that she is aligned with one that is all over the sexiestbeauty.com. The name is escaping me. Be your beautiful self, something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
Forgive
Either way,
me,
I love her.
for not
I love
remembering
her.
what it is, Heather. I'm gonna actually drop a link to her. Let's see if um, to her lipsticks in here because she not only always offers money towards breast cancer awareness and is just generously giving towards with every one of those lipsticks, but she also, like, the second we connected, she was like, okay, so what can I give you to help promote this as well? So she
Mhm.
like helps people tap into their own generosity,
I love that.
right?
I love
And so now, oh, Beautiful Self, Mia is sharing that the name of the nonprofit that she supports is
okay,
Beautiful
cool.
Self.
I'm gonna check her out.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So, and so if anybody else wants to get these lipsticks, because of course we love to support generous,
Yes.
amazing, powerful human
Has a ripple
beings.
effect. Mhm.
Yes, go to the sexiestbeauty.com, order your lippies, order the rose glow. Oh my God, this rose glow is so amazing. And then use the code Moxie20 and you get some money off. Because of course she's so generous. It's crazy. Like, right? Um, these things are important. When we speak these words, we become, I like to say, a moxie filled magnet for others, right? Who want to walk alongside us, and us putting a flag in the ground and saying, these things are important to me. This is where I want to give. And this is where I want to support. It allows people to actually find us, right? It
Yes.
allows people to find us. And I know that that marketing and relationship marketing and being your authentic self
Mhm.
in your marketing is really important to you. So let's talk about that for a bit. Like, what have you been doing with clients this year? I mean, can imagine everyone was like, help
Yeah.
us, Jessica. What do we do now? So,
Yeah.
what's kind of the top advice you've been giving
Oh
people in
man,
building?
it's been honestly a great year. So we've doubled our team, which has been amazing. And it has been that. I think it has allowed clients and us to get closer. One, because the clients that now see, okay, all this relationship marketing thing, was for a really good reason. Not only was it helping us grow repeat referral business, but it helped accelerate that growth because now, unless they were or had been doing that before, they would have been struggling right now. And many brands were. And so many brands have been trying to kind of catch up and they're like, oh my gosh, what kind of can we do? Can we put out ads and things like that? And I'm like, that's where everybody's going. Honestly, you need to kind of start from the inside out and having that kind of conversation. Like if your culture is not right, your marketing is never going to be right kind of thing. And saying like, hey, let's get to the center of it, of who you are at your core, because using the word magnet like you, I believe that unless you show up in your business and get to the center of who we are, how we're willing to give out, and who we're trying to attract and serve and help, that it's your magnet's not going to attract the right people. And the whole goal with your brand is to set up to attract the right people that's going to stick with you for a lot longer, like a magnet, versus just trying to be a bullhorn out there, just shouting your message out. So a lot of the conversations have been really good about just refining that. If they haven't kind of bought in all the way to relationship marketing, they're like, okay, we just heard you were good and we like you, we get along, we're going to do some stuff. To the ones that had been doing it, they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. Right. So it's been a great sense of clarity, I feel like, for many business owners. It's been a great sense of feeling good about making the decisions that they had, and a realization that that's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. The only currency that really matters in business is the relationships that you have, how you're treating your team, your community, and how you're showing up to treat your customers. Because if not, there's no loyalty in it. And so if you haven't, treated that like your top currency, your business has potentially suffered quite a bit and will continue to suffer unless you turn things around.
Amen.
Mhm.
Amen. Preach it. I think, it's so interesting when you meet people for the first time that you've known them on social media and you meet them and you're like, who is this person?
Mhm.
Right? That feeling of, wow, I don't really know you at all. I've been following you and connecting and talking with you for 3 years, but who you are there and who you are in real life is off. And I think now, for at least for me, I
Mhm.
love the compliment. It's one of the biggest compliments is, oh my gosh, you are exactly like you are online.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I love it when people tell me that. I'm like, thank you, because it's so true, right? And I think video has really helped with that, because I do think it's really hard, unless you are a sociopath,
Mm.
to really fake it for very long on video.
Amen to that. Yeah. So true.
Like, get out there. If you're nervous about being authentic and you don't really know how to do that, simply turn on the camera.
Yeah. And just
That
be
is like,
you. It's okay. Like I go back and cringe at some of my first videos and I still screw up, I've done the show for 8 years almost. Because we were recording it before live video and then putting it up. And even those videos. And then especially when Blab first came out, like I
oh my
would
God,
sit
wow.
over. Do you remember Blab? Did you ever do
Oh
it?
geez,
Oh,
yes,
but
oh my
see, you are
God.
my kind of people. Like, I love it. That was my first like gateway drug, if you will, to live video. It was amazing. You could connect with anyone. Again, I live in Lime, Ohio. Okay, there's like no one, very few people around here. And when I would go on there, I could hang out with people, and it was nerve wracking at first. You're like, oh my God, all these people are going to see me. But then the more you start doing it, the more you realize like that's what people expect you to be human, and you of course you don't want to go in and just blabber and go on without a purpose, but at the same time you need to show up and just define what it is that you want to do, whether it's make connections, teach something, entertain, whatever it is, but just start doing it. And it'll become more and more comfortable to you.
Yeah, I think it is the repetition, right?
Mhm.
The consistency, not only for you, but for your audience,
Mhm. Yep.
right? Like, being consistent, doing it the same day, if you can do it at the same time, really creating that pull. I think Mia does a great job at
I
this
was
with
just
Friday with
thinking
Friends.
her when you were
Yeah.
saying that. Yeah.
I mean, there are days where it's like 5:15. I'm like, everything okay?
Yeah.
What's going on? She's like, oh, see you in a minute. I'm like, oh my God, yes, I didn't miss it. Or, oh no, I posted earlier, hun, that I'm not
Mhm.
doing it today. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do this week? Like, I literally have become, it's like the cherry on the top of the week for me.
Mhm.
Right. And,
Same.
and Yeah, I think for those of us who consistently show up in the stream,
Uh-huh.
that is what it is. And so, and then when you meet her in person, she is who she is on camera when she's got her boots on the ground, right? And
Absolutely.
I love that. I want that for everyone,
Mhm.
right? I want that for everyone, at least everyone who's seeking to really tap into their authentic self, to understand who it is that they are, to get a peek into what that looks like and what that feels like.
Mhm.
Because once you feel it, you're like, okay, I'm safe.
Yeah.
I am safe. I am safe being who I am. And I do love, we talked earlier about Brene Brown, but I think she really has helped give us a language around it with her research around
Mhm.
shame and understanding how we do tend to become our worst critic, and here is why, and here are
Mhm.
some steps that we can, whether it's as a parent, as a leader, as a woman. She's really helped with a lot of studies, research. I think I was listening to her say that they have like 400,000 pieces of research now. It's like, how does one even catalog
I don't know.
four?
She like blows my mind with what she brings. I'm like, I'll just let you do your thing in the research because you love it, and I'll read the summary. Like, thank you. Because
Exactly. Yes,
it's
exactly. Or the
fascinating though.
podcast. Like, I'll
Yeah.
listen to the podcast.
Yeah, it's
Totally.
fascinating.
So
Yeah, my friend Brian Fanzo, he describes video and he's like, it I love how he described it. He says it shrinks the distance between you and your customer. And it's like that one platform that can do it really quickly is video. People feel
yes,
close to you, they can hear you, they can sense your energy, they can connect with you in the way that's the closest besides being in person. And I think even podcasting does that too. It's intimacy, that you're creating the sensory experience. And when you're just yourself, it just feels natural and normal, and that's okay, and that's the beauty of it, right?
it's
You're unique.
so true.
Hmm.
I when I teach my fire art workshops, I talk about the soap opera effect. That's what I call it in the class, because we all have a Grammy who watched her stories,
Oh yeah,
right?
days of our
Like
lives. Yep.
religion. Yeah. Every time I say it, everyone shouts out like either Days of Our Lives or General Hospital or
Yeah.
All My Children. Like
Uh-huh.
our Grammys all kind of brought
Mhm.
us into this world of their stories. And when I was little, I really truly thought that my grandma had a relationship with Phoebe. Like
Yeah.
Phoebe was one of her friends. Right. And not until I got older did I realize, oh, Phoebe's somebody on TV. But my grandmother would and around coffee in the morning with her girlfriends, they would talk about, oh, what Phoebe was up to, and oh, can you believe what Victor and Victoria are doing now? And it was like it was a part of the red threads that connected these women.
Yeah,
And we have the ability in our generation to be that for our communities,
absolutely.
right? To
Mhm.
become that. I mean, I have people who are like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I know you,"
Yeah.
because they watch the show, right?
My
And
3 teenage
I
girls, that's all they watch are people, other humans, they're not watching, program TV. This is their the channels that they're watching and consuming,
yeah,
not
yeah.
something for
Which
the
is
masses
so
at all,
rad.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I do still like a real good sitcom. Like situational comedy is great for me, but really, Friends, Will and Grace, I'm kind of stuck in like the '90s sitcoms.
Those are the best though, yeah.
I'm always open for more, but I don't really have time to sit and get attached to a new sitcom.
Mhm.
I like to do the quick, let me just binge watch something on Netflix, right?
Yes.
Which, by the way, did you see the statistics about the Netflix effect with Queen's Gambit?
I watched the whole thing. I couldn't leave. I wanted to call
Oh,
in, like, the only time
it's
I'd ever want to take time off work, like, I was hooked. I'm not
yes,
a TV watcher. Honestly, I really don't, but I'm a movie person, so when I do sit down, I wanna watch a movie, right? But I
right.
was like, Queen's Gambit," and I actually ended up getting sick, and that's when I binge things, is when I'm, like,
Yeah.
sick, so I binge watched that, and I was just like, "Is there more?" Like, I need it in my life
Yeah,
right
is
now.
it
It's
gonna
so
be
good.
done? Is it gonna be done? Well, what they're saying now is they're showing all these statistics in this very, very short amount of time, that the hits on like chess.com have gone up 250, like 250% overnight. And
Mhm.
that the number of accounts has like umpteenth times
Yeah.
increased in size, and the number of chess sets purchased for Christmas
Yeah.
has gone through the
Even
roof. It's
Ocean
like,
Spray guy. Did you see the Ocean Spray guy on TikTok that went viral?
no.
He was just
Oh
drinking
God,
Ocean
yes.
Spray, riding, enjoying his best life, skating down the road. Like he was skating because he didn't have a car to work and freaking went crazy viral on TikTok. It was like one of the most popular videos ever. So Ocean Spray caught wind of it, got him a truck, but Ocean Spray sales drastically went up. The actual song that was playing in the background like sold so many thousand that they hadn't before. Like
Oh, I love that
for
song,
just a regular
Dreams.
person showing up authentically, just chilling, drinking some Ocean Spray, and riding his skateboard. It was beautiful.
Like on the freeway, which is
Yes.
so crazy.
Just,
I know these are the things, like we do want to connect with the humanity in each other, right?
yeah.
We want that. We don't want the whole selly feel, which is so interesting. I have a very large part of my practice is in the real estate space. And so many of my real estate professional clients are like, I don't want to be salesy. I'm like, it's so sad that this term, right, has really become a negative for so many, right? Because we nobody wants to be sold
Yep.
to,
They want to
right?
be
We want to
served.
be connected with.
Yeah.
And I love that you are helping people figure that out. I love that so much. So we've kind of teased about it a little bit about the one word that's guiding you right now. Let's
Yeah.
let's dig into that at this point. So what is the one word that is just your word right now?
Yeah, so my one word, so I'm into the pick a word for the year theme. And so my word for this year was warrior. And I should have known that warrior was going to come with some battles, but when I picked it, that was the word that was guiding me. It was tapping into my inner strength and really showing up in a way that was still, showing up as a heart-centered visionary, but also standing your ground and not accepting things, but showing up to that you give permission of how people will treat you. And so being okay with saying, no, that's not okay. And so that has been the word guiding me this year, which has been amazing. It's really taught me a lot about myself. I've gotten more comfortable with it over the course of the year.
Love that.
Not people pleasing, and also saying that some relationships are, you can be okay with saying, I love you, but I can't have you in my life. It's not good right now, and being okay with dismissing it for your own peace and for your own self, and truly doing the same thing, that's in your personal life. And then also even doing that in your work environment as well. If you have clients maybe that aren't respecting you, or team members that aren't showing up in the way that is respectful to you, to be okay to say, I love you, and that's why I'm going to tell you that this is not okay, and this
Right.
is how I would appreciate us mutually showing respect for each other, in the way that I'm going to give it to you, and that I'm going to stand my ground, or else I'm also going to have to be a warrior and cut you out of my life. So
It's
just being
very
okay with
Patty
doing
Smythe of you. Remember
that.
Patty Smythe? She
Yeah.
sang the song Warrior. I am a
Warrior.
warrior.
Oh, yes, I need to
Strong to
listen to that.
hard to
I bought this,
hold.
like, Native American woman that was, like, beautiful. It's this piece of art in my bedroom. I wish I could show it on here, but, she just had, like, her face paint, on, but it was just this beautiful photo that was calling to me. It was like, "It's okay to be you can be completely in your divine feminine, and be a leader and show up and be heart-centered, but also be strong. Like your kindness does not need to mean weakness, and that you can embody all of that, in order to have peace in your life and to feel good." And that was one of the best decisions, that I think I made, is the word for this year. So I'm being very selective though on my word for 2021, because I'm like, oh, that
Well,
word was not exactly how I was imagining it to go, but I'm glad it did, now that I'm almost
that's
done with
so funny. That's so, I love it. Though you needed to tap into the warrior inside, and
Uh-huh.
I think what I love about the song "The Warrior" and Patty Smythe, and you actually look a little bit like her. I don't know if you've ever
No,
seen her. You are gonna. I think you
I
might
need
freak
to,
out
like,
a little
write
bit.
down all these things that I now need to, like, look into.
Yeah, so it's Patty with a Y, Smythe with a Y. And the song is like your theme song because it's Heart to Heart is in
Uh-huh.
there, the Warrior's in there. And again, you could be related. She could be your cousin. Uh, and I think there's so much power. You know, one of the things that we do here in the fire up community every year with the one word is I have this little guide that I send everyone, and I'll be sure to drop the comments to the 2021 version as soon as it's ready. But I take people through the process of like, what is your word? You know, like ask you some questions, right? Figure out what your word is. But then we turn it in either to an acronym or an acrostic, depending on what the word is. So each letter becomes either another word or a sentence that supports the word,
Oh,
right?
I love that.
And I'll tell you, this is a practice that I feel like I go through with almost everything I teach now, right? Core value words. I want you to write a fire up statement for everyone. Your goals. I want you to give it a life giving statement that brings that word, that tick that normally we just cross off, like actual life. Right. And our one word, this concept of choosing a word that is, we're going to come back to. Mine was perspective this year. But like nice and long. So I got all sorts of great sentences out of that one. But it really, I mean, it has pushed me to remember shift your perspective. Shift your perspective. And I really do believe that's why I am often the odd woman in the room who's saying 2021 or 2020 hasn't been a dumpster fire for me.
Yeah, same.
It's
That's what you and I were
it's
talking
not
about.
been. Yeah. And I mean,
Doesn't mean it
it's
hasn't been hard, but it was like
no.
a good kind of hard. The kind of hard you
Yeah.
wouldn't have done for yourself had you
Yeah.
maybe had the choice, but you so needed. You know, I feel like that's the kind of hard growth is what I call, that we all needed.
Yeah.
So,
I completely agree. Completely. Okay. So let me ask you some rapid fire questions.
okay,
And then we'll wrap up with helping everyone figure out how to get in touch with you.
sure.
And what I know that you've got a little goodie to share with everyone. So
Sure.
I love doing the rapid fire because it gets to the heart of some kind of goofy, fun, wild things about you that you might not even know about yourself until you answer them. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do
Let's
it.
start with an easy one.
Okay.
What is on your nightstand?
Ooh, I have a Himalayan salt lamp. I have an alarm clock that's still probably flashing the wrong time. I have a regular lamp, and a journal.
Ooh, I love the Himalayan salt lamp. I have one of those in my home too. I love it. Favorite vacation spot?
Ooh, I would have said San Diego until this year. It would be definitely Cabo. I went there this year with a group of people I called the Good Vibe Tribe because I needed a break, and it looked like a safe place to still go during quarantine. And it was an amazing 5 days. I would definitely go
I
back.
love it. Cabo. All right, sunrise or sunset?
Ooh, sunset. I love the beautiful sunrise. It's definitely beautiful. Took some pictures there in Cabo, but I'm a night person by far. Early mornings are not my thing.
Okay, so that leads to early bird or night owl.
Oh, night owl, definitely. Hands down. Yeah.
Okay, dark or milk chocolate?
Ooh, whatever one has nuts thrown in it. Like, I'm a sweet, salty person,
Ooh,
so I
oh,
love
love
them both.
Okay, what was your first concert?
Oh my gosh. It was like DC Talk and, like, all the Christian bands because my family was, like, really into, like, all
Sure.
of it, but then right after that, it was Korn, which was, like, the complete opposite, but the first concert I bought tickets to was, it was, like, the Boys to Men, Paula Abdul, and, Boys to Men, New Kids on the Block, like, tour
Oh my
that
gosh,
they were
the boys,
doing. The
the
first one I
boys
bought my
band
own
tour.
tickets to.
I love it.
Oh,
Those
right.
are great.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I were to put you on a stage with a microphone, what topic would you teach?
Relationship marketing. Yeah, for sure.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Okay, if money no longer existed and
Mhm.
you could do whatever you wanted, what would you be doing?
Ooh, I would still be doing the same thing I'm doing. Honestly, I love doing it. I love, working with people and, to help them kinda tell their story better and make connections and do business better, based on out carrying the competition.
Out caring. Wow, I love that. What would you say your superpower is?
I would say being able to hear what isn't said, and think, like, feeling and understanding people. I would say, like, I feel like I can genuinely get to the core of who a person is with understanding when I just have a conversation with them, and then I can really I can understand what they're trying to say sometimes and convey it into a message in business or just in person, just really kind of connect with people and feel a good sense of understanding.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. Who would play you in the movie of your life?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe whoever you just said that looks like me. I don't know anyone else. Uh,
Do you ever get a "you look like so and so"?
the only one I ever got, and this was like many pounds ago, was Teresa Theron or whatever, when it was like Kelly Kapowski way back in the day, but not recently. I haven't got that.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I
but
could see that. I could
mhm.
also see Marissa Tomei.
No, I don't know who she is. I know
She
faces.
was
I'm
in
so
My
bad
Cousin Vinny.
at go look
She
up.
was in My Cousin Vinny. Did you ever
Oh,
see
yeah,
that
yeah,
movie?
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I could see that.
Yeah, she could
I could see
totally
that.
play you. Absolutely. All right. So, what is your favorite thing to do to fill your soul tank?
Ooh, nature by far. Like, picked the house that I live at now specifically because it was beside the trails that I love to walk. So I love doing that. I love doing meditation, spending time with my girls. But truly, just like nothing's better than just like walking trails or being by the ocean. No oceans here in Lima, Ohio, but trails we'll have to do. And then I have to take trips to Cabo to get to the ocean. But yeah.
I love it. Okay, last question is what does moxie mean to you?
Oh, I like just became acquainted with this bird by following you. I knew I loved you from the moment like you started talking in the chat that we were all speaking at. So I started connecting with it. It's like showing up as true, like your true self, to be you and to make a difference and be like unapologetically you. I feel like that's that moxie fire and passion, that you like exuberate and inspire others to do. Mm.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for that. And I love everyone else's definition of the word, right? I
Yeah.
think that when we do start asking those questions, the
Mhm.
tell me more, what does that mean to you? We really do see into someone else's soul. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, so let's talk about how people can get in touch with you and a little bit more about, I know that you normally do your 4-letter hashtag, your social media week Lima.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's just during the event time. We had to not have it this year, unfortunately, but or hopefully 2021, we're claiming that it'll be back. But yeah, so you can find me at jessikaphillips.com, and that 4-letter hashtag is Social Media Week Lima, and that happens in June. And we're going to bring it back in 2021, hopefully. And then, yeah, so you can find me on any of the social channels as Jessika Phillips on Facebook and Twitter, and then Relationship Marketing Jessika on Instagram.
Perfect. We will definitely drop those in the comments and to the show notes for sure. And then share with us a little bit about the learnrelationshipmarketing.com, that link that you shared with me earlier.
Sure. So yeah, learnrelationshipmarketing.com is just a free set of resources, both video, audio, and workbook to help brands truly focus on how they can outcare the competition by focusing on care, which is how do you capture attention? How do you articulate your message and show up with clarity, conviction, and consistently? And then how do you build relationships for repeat and referral business and bring in
Mhm.
exceptional experiences? So that's what CARE stands for. And so I brought in other business owners and other heart-centered visionaries to share how they've done it. It's all free. It's just, and it comes with all the videos and workbooks and a community to help you do just that. Yeah.
Generosity right there. A generous, generous gift. I love that. And thanks to your team for dropping that link in for us.
Thank you. Mhm.
Any final words of wisdom you want to sprinkle over the Fire Up community before we say goodbye?
I just want to thank you and everyone listening and joining in just for showing up here and just, yeah, just continuing that momentum. I truly believe that whatever we put out, we're going to get back, but it's also going to have this ripple effect. So, yeah, truly just all of us, if we can love more, give more, and be, it helps us to all be more at the end of the day. And I'm really excited for what's to come in 2021.
Yay. Oh, wonderful. Well, hopefully, if you, regardless of if you have social media week, I'm sure you'll do something. So I'd love to have you back on the show to touch base, let us know how things are going. However, I can support you or the community can support you by spreading the good word and sharing the mission of spreading good vibes. We
Aw.
love that around here. So you let us know what we can do to serve you. Again, I will reiterate what Jessika just said. Thank you to everyone who connected with us here live today. Thank you for everyone who's watching the replay and or listening to it live on the podcast as soon as it's up there. We would love to keep connected to you. So if you've got questions about anything we shared today, I am going to ask Jessika for a picture of the art in her bedroom so we can put that in the blog post because I
I
to see
will.
it now. I know that there's many of you who are as well, so I'll make sure to put that in the show notes as well. Until we meet again, right? Until we meet again, I hope that you all find moments to engage, elevate, and empower your world and fire up your moxie. We'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.